Welcome all to Mortals Watch Today and a second disquisition upon Liverpool and stereography, once the most popular mainstay of international travellogues and travellers. Today we turn our attentions toward a beautiful stereograph entitled Moonlight Over the Mersey, Liverpool, England, taken by American stereographer and ophthalmologist Hawley C. circa 1899 to 1902, and published by his company H.C. White & Co. of North Bennington, Vermont in 1902. Established in 1899, H.C. White & Co. would go on to become one of the leading publishers of quality stereographs in America, rivalled only by the more well-known productions of the Keystone View Company, Underwood & Underwood, and of course the ubiquitous B.W. Kilburn. By the time of his death in 1925, Hawley C. White's company had amassed a stereograph archive containing some 13,000 separate views. After 1902, White employed a range of freelance photographers to provide him with subjects for publication, but for the most part, stereographs produced by the company in its earliest days were exclusively photographed by White himself. The present example is indeed one of these early stereographs, backed in the fawn-coloured carding most commonly associated with H.C. White & Co.'s earliest publications. Later card backings published by the company were dark grey in colour. White's view is distinctive in turn-of-the-century stereographs of Liverpool in that it focuses on a portion of the dock estate considerably furthermore to the north of the port than typical stereograph views, which tended to concentrate on southern dock areas and infrastructure, for example St George's Dock, Salthouse and the landing stage. Indeed, viewers unfamiliar with the layout of the late 19th century Liverpool waterfront may even have found White's stereograph unrecognisable as Liverpool at all, save for one clearly identifiable architectural structure just to the right of the centre of the composition, the hexagonal Victoria Clock Tower. The presence of this striking feature, familiar to mariners the whole world over with any business on the River Mersey, indicates that the scene depicts the entrance to Salisbury Dock, with the Nelson Dock and a profusion of warehouses and chimneys located further still to the north on the left. That the docks are extremely busy at this date is demonstrated by the scores of mastheads visible in the docking basin right at the clock tower, including one schooner that appears to be in the process of entering or leaving, entirely in keeping with the nocturnal inference of the stereograph's title. The Mersey itself is largely devoid of river traffic, save for the presence of a single steam trawler heading out in the direction of Liverpool Bay and the Irish Sea. In point of fact, it is the presence of the fishing trawler that provides the most telling clue as to the actual time of day the stereograph was taken, because whilst the title implies that the shot was taken at night, the presence of the trawler heading out for what is presumably the first catch of the day demonstrates that the shot really took place at the start of the working day and not, as it were, in the middle of the night. Indeed, the high light level of the plate in general, and the evident visibility of the dawning sun creeping out from behind the cloud cover overhead, provides further evidence that all is not quite what the title suggests. Finally, smoke billowing out from only a few of the several chimneys seen strewn across the landscape is suggestive of the early morning work pattern in Liverpool factories at this date, and the dense amount of air pollution already settling in over the waterfront locale as the new day opens. In this context, Hawley C. White's stereograph is perhaps most notable for capturing a rear view of the aforementioned Victoria Clock Tower's makeshift lantern, the triangular appendage anchored above the parapet, which could be lit up at short notice in smoggy conditions to indicate the proximity of the Salisbury Dock to approaching vessels on the river, but also to horse-drawn traffic on the dockside. This was crucial, especially during the busiest hours of the working day, because smoke pollution from industrial manufactures and domestic coal consumption in late Victorian Liverpool, even along the waterfront areas, had arguably become just as pressing a problem in terms of logistical visibility as it had for workers in the capital city of London and the other teeming industrial metropolises such as Birmingham and Manchester. Moreover, White's unusual vantage point, most likely from a yacht or boat moored in the middle of the river, appears to have been chosen because this was the only point from which to get a relatively clear view of Liverpool at this date. It thus constitutes one of the earliest examples in the photographic record to deal with the subject of industrial pollution in Liverpool head on, and because day was oftentimes indistinguishable from night, the moonlight of the title at this date may be intentionally ironic.